Hey everybody, welcome back. So super exciting news. The original Cartoon Network Clone Wars is finally coming to Disney Plus, along with a bunch of the other like weird old offshoot stuff, like the original Ewoks movies. Those are coming to Disney Plus. So if you haven't seen any of that and you're a huge Star Wars fan, make sure to go check that out. Well, in celebration of all of that, I'm going to show you today my Clone Wars collection a little bit closer. I think I did a video a long time ago, kind of towards the beginning of my video doing, and now that I'm getting a little bit more used to it and I can do a little bit better at it, I'm going to show you in a little bit better of a fashion. So let's start with some of the stuff that we got here. We got all the stuff. See, Clone Wars, originally, the only thing we had for Clone Wars is they had the Cartoon Network version of Clone Wars. It kind of came out late at night. There was little short blips of it. Sometimes, little scattered episodes, sometimes 5-minute blips, sometimes 20-minute blips. And then also, where it originally started, the original mythos came out in the Star Wars Republic comic. It was called Star Wars. The title was called The Republic, and it was through Dark Horse Comics, and that's where a lot of the original toys were based off of, is that original Republic comic book from Dark Horse. So we'll show you guys that stuff first. So let's just get to these ones first. First, originally they did these like 3-packs. So they had 3 packs of guys you could get, and they had a bunch of different versions of these clone troopers. This is the one with the green clone variant. And some of the packs, they came with different positioned clones. And there's, so like, see, this one's all 3 standing, maybe a couple kind of crouching. Well, this one had one that was crawling, and one kneeling, and one standing. And this one came with a blue variant. So different ones that you would get had different colored clones in the different standing positions. I'm not even sure how many different variants there were, but there were a bunch of different variants of these guys in clone 3-packs. As well as clones in the 3-packs, we got droids in a 3-pack. So this is pretty cool because you get a destroyer droid, a battle droid, and a super destroyer droid, no, a super battle droid, all in the same pack. There wasn't any real variance to this pack. It was just like, this was the only pack that they made for the droids. Just the one version, 3 droids, that's what you got. But they also made some other cool droid packs. So like they had this destroyer droid that would come with a rolling destroyer droid that also came with a rolling destroyer launcher. So as you can see here, here's the launcher. You put the little roly-poly destroyer droid into the launcher, and out he would launch. And I believe it's the same roly-poly droids that you would get in that R2-D2 case that I showed you guys from the episode 1 carrying case for these guys. Let me see if I can show you a refresher on that. Ooh, let's see if I can dig it out. Yeah, see, I showed you guys this before, but that also came with those little roly-poly droids, and those would also work with those launchers. Moving on. And you can't have 3 packs of all those guys without having a 3-pack of Jedis. So here's the 3-pack of Jedis. They came with some Jedis you never got to see before in package. There's kind of a Greedo-looking Jedi, a Twi'lek Jedi, and a human Jedi. And there's a little closer up of what those guys actually look like without so much of the glare. Yeah, so that was pretty cool that they did that. Bad thing about these figures, though, is they were not posable. Like, you couldn't bend at the knees. They were just kind of like stick figures. They were just kind of set up as, just a little scene. And moving on, also into these deluxe packs, they had my favorite bounty hunter of all time. This guy's name was Dirge. He was the most bad of all the baddest of the bounty hunters. And he kind of had a symbol similar to Boba Fett. It's kind of like a mythosaur, but I think it was a little bit different than the mythosaur. Maybe it was just a giant mythosaur. I'm not quite sure, but if you're not familiar with Dirge, look him up in the comic books because he was amazing. And he was also in that original animated Clone Wars special that you will see coming to Disney Plus soon. And here's like a closer look of how he looked in all his glory and badassness. I love this guy. And he kind of teamed up with Asajj Ventress a few different times. And this is also where you got to see Ventress for the first time in figure form, was this series of Clone Wars. And actually, here's Ventress herself hanging on this cool little Clone Wars display I got. There's the original Ventress. And I guess why I really liked her especially was I'm kind of drawn to characters that are just done in black and white. And she's just black and white and gray. And here's a close-up of what she looks like in all of her glory. See if we can get that to unblur a little bit. But yeah, so that's Asajj Ventress in her original figure form. Pretty cool figure. It's the first figure you were able to get where she came with 2 red lightsabers. And of course that was after Darth Maul and all that, but you didn't see anybody having like the 2 like separate red lightsabers. And here's the Clone Troopers. There was a couple different versions of this that you could get. There was running left, running right, and there was maybe a crouching one, but these were like superposable, so they had all sorts of articulation to them. So these were quite popular at the time, and even like the variations of them were popular. I forget whether one was worth more than the other, the running left or running right. I forget which one, but there it is, the Clone Trooper running one way. And then we get on to, oh yeah, and this was my favorite Kit Fisto of all time. This Kit Fisto was amazing. He had kind of cool, like a shirt off cut and color feature. I like how they did the color on this bad boy. It's super cool, but it's not quite. It doesn't do quite as much justice as it does in the actual package as far as how they did the hues of red on it. It was a really cool figure. Actually, this is the only Kit Fisto figure I own and will own because it's the only really cool one that they ever made. And that was kind of from, they do a cool scene in the Cartoon Network Clone Wars cartoon with him like fighting underwater, all crazy badass. Let's go on to, oh yeah, we forgot this bad boy. I can't forget that while we're at it. This was the deluxe Spider Droid that came out. And this was really cool because it actually had some motorized functioning to it. You kind of wind it up and kind of walk along by itself. Get a closer look up at what that looks like out of package. That was actually a really cool figure that they put out for this set. Pretty awesome to see, kind of cool new droids. I don't think they'd put this guy out before in any other sets. Let's go on to... Alright, then we got to see Sausage Teen. Sausage Teen in Clone Wars, and he's got his horn busted off already by the time this figure came out. I think he got his horn busted in the Clone Wars comic book. But there he is in all his busted horn glory. Poor Sausage Teen losing his horn. And then we got, of course, can't have Clone Wars without Mace Windu. There's Mace Windu and all his Samuel L. Jackson glory. I like that they put a different, he's got a different outfit on for this figure, which is pretty cool to see. We get kind of tired of the plain old Jedi robe stuff, that they generally have. And that was what was cool about this set, is they put out different versions of the outfits, they have different clothing. And then they actually put out a few different sets of these. It was just basically like you would get a clone. It was a 2-pack. And that's what I think this display came from, was for when they put out those 2-packs. And you would get a clone and another character. And then this one just happened to be the one where you'd get the ARC Trooper and the Clone Trooper. But there was another one where you would get like Anakin and a Clone Trooper, or Obi-Wan and a Clone Trooper, or even, was it Yoda and a Clone Trooper? But yeah, so this is the only one that I got, just because, I had too many of those other guys, I think, at the time, and not really interested. But this one was a cool one just because that's 2 different clones and you get that ARC Trooper. But I don't think you were able to get unless you got it in the 2-pack. Maybe they put him out in a single pack, but maybe he was red. I forget how that worked out at the time. Moving on, and then we go to get into the animated figure. So this is from the actual cartoon that's about to be released on Disney Plus from Cartoon Network. And they had kind of a different look to them. It was pretty cool how they did them, though. Pretty cool different look. And they had definitely a unique kind of lightsaber, because at the bottom of the lightsaber it had kind of like a bursting kind of plasma look to it before the actual extension of the blade. So that was the Yoda. It was pretty cool looking, because yeah, it kind of looks like how he did in the cartoon. And moving on, we can have Clone Wars without Count Dooku, because of course Count Dooku is a big part of the Clone Wars. And there's Count Dooku and all his Sith glory. And of course, you see him. That's how he looked when he was in the cartoon, kind of animated. But you got a real appreciation for Count Dooku in this cartoon, because you see him training Ventress, and you also see him training Grievous, which was pretty amazing scenes to see. So make sure, you go back and check out that show when it comes out. And then, of course, here's Grievous. Grievous had a really cool look in the Clone Wars cartoon. And actually, in this Clone Wars cartoon, you kind of figure out why in episode 3 he's all coughing. Because, at the beginning of the series, he's not coughing, but by the end of the series, he's coughing, and you figure out during the series why he is coughing in episode 3. But pretty cool. Only came with 2 lightsabers, but still pretty sweet. And that's how he kind of looked in the cartoon. Kind of big baddie. You get a lot of appreciation for him in that cartoon. Because, yeah, he was a badass. And moving on, and of course, he had a bunch of different versions of these stormtroopers, or clone troopers, I mean. You could get the red one, you could get the yellow one, you could get the blue one, like this one is, or you could get the white one. But there's 3 different versions of that. I only have this one. Of course, on the back, it's just the white one. Going forward, and here we go, my favorite figure from this animated set. Of course, Asajj Ventress and all of her glory. I showed you in one of our previous videos all my different Ventress statues when I showed you the Black Series 6-inch Ventress. But this is the first figure, I think you know. Maybe the other figure came out first, and then this came out later. But still pretty cool. And all of her just black and white. And then here's how she looked in the cartoon. Of course, you saw that in that Ventress statue that I showed you guys prior. And then, oh yeah, let's go to this. We got the 3-pack. So this was a cool 3-pack. It was a Walmart exclusive, but the cool thing about this is you got the Anakin with the cool tribal tattoos that you see him get during the show. So yeah, it's a really good episode if you go back and look at it, where Anakin gets these kind of inky tattoos. They kind of put a slug on him, and it kind of crawls around on him and gives him the kind of tattoo. Here's a closer look at what they actually look like. There's Anakin. He was pretty badass in that episode. Saucy Teen, Before the Horn Break, and of course an extra clone trooper. But yeah, those were Walmart exclusives, and you couldn't find them on the toy aisle. You had to go to like the electronics section because it had them kind of where the DVDs were. And oh yeah, and they also made a couple different Lego things. This was the Clone Wars Lego Anakin's Starfighter, and I think they were called Aether Sprites, something or another's. But generally, these ones didn't come with. These ships didn't have hyperdrives. But Anakin actually customized his Aether Sprite to put on hyperdrive engines, as I'll show you on the actual action figure vehicle. Because I also have that. But this was the Lego version. I only saw this once in stores, and this was at a Walmart. I'm not sure if it was exclusive to that, but it came with a Ventress figure and Anakin. And I actually do have this one opened up. Let me show you that while we're at it. We'll put a little bit of lighting effects in there. So this is that starship. So I put the little lights in the cockpit just to kind of give it a little bit of oomph. But there's the Ventress figure. So this was the only way you could have gotten the Ventress Lego figure that was actually like, you know, like a legitimate, not a bootleg. This is actual Ventress Lego figure by Lego. And then, of course, there's the Anakin and all of his little glory. And I don't know, for some dumb reason, they messed up and they gave him 2 colored hands. Anakin doesn't have 2 colored hands in the Clone Wars because he gets caught off in Episode 2 fighting against Dooku. And then, of course, came with his R5. And there's the little hyperdrive engines that he has built onto his custom Starfighter. But it was a pretty cool Starfighter. I was glad I found it when I did. I found it quite some odd years ago. And I think when I sold a bunch of the stuff, I only kept this along with like 1 or 2 other figures. But moving on, here's the real version of that Starfighter for like the action figures. So this is Anakin's Aether Sprite. Best Starfighter ever made as far as the toys go. I love this, just the design of it, the look of it. And see, as you can see in the background, that's how the regular ones looked like, you know, just the regular Aether Sprites. And of course, they weren't as badass as this one with the custom paint job, custom edges. And of course, Anakin, you know, with Jedi, you're not allowed to own possessions. So Anakin technically owned 2 possessions, besides his lightsaber, which was R2-D2 and this Aether Sprite. And I think he was given R2-D2 after he had already built this baddie up and made it all his own, you know, kind of reminiscent of his pod racer, you know, how they have the kind of dual engines. But yeah, he had the only Aether Sprite that was capable of doing hyperspace without using one of those hyperspace rings that you see in Episode 2. And then I guess lastly but not leastly, I don't have a lot of stuff from this Clone Wars set. So this is the later Clone Wars set. This is once Disney came along and started with the whole Ahsoka thing and all that. Because, you know, the original Clone Wars, Ahsoka did not exist. But once Ahsoka came, they had this whole new series of Clone Wars. And this guy is with Castus. And he was kind of in the Clone Wars series a few different times. Let's see if I can get a good non-glary picture of him here. Yes, there's Castus in all his glory. And here's a good picture of him on the side. So he was just kind of an ugly-looking alien guy. And there he is, a little bit better looking there. And I guess before we finish this... Oh, yeah, I actually have the DVDs from that original Clone Wars series to show you. So they put these out a long time ago. This is Volume 1. Clone Wars Volume 1. Super awesome. So once these get downloaded onto Disney Plus, I recommend you guys go and watch them because this is my favorite Clone Wars cartoon. I like it better than the one that they came out with eventually, just because it kind of had a darker feel. It kind of had like a more like Anakin's going dark side feel to it. But yeah, so it's like, early on Anakin when he's still a Padawan. And actually, I think end up showing him graduating and doing like the ceremony to become a Jedi in one of these. And then this is like after he's become a Jedi. And he's basically kind of going along wreaking havoc during the Clone Wars. So make sure to go check those out once they're on Disney Plus, and make sure to like and subscribe to this channel. And I'll talk to you guys soon.